Very good afternoon to everyone. We are on day 5th of our 6th webinar, 5-day series. Today is final day for this webinar series, and it was actually visualized that GRI Center at Delhi should become a knowledge hub, an extension of Gandhigram Rural Institute deemed to be university at Delhi. This was the dream, or this was the task given by our Chancellor, Dr. K.M. Annamlai, to us. This is 6 months old now. Almost every month we are there with 5-day webinar series with different speakers, different subjects. Those who are very well relevant to the student fraternity, not only of Gandhigram, but for everyone. These subjects have been chosen by us, and the speakers have been chosen by us. The rest of the thing, the justice is given by the speakers, true to their sincere efforts. I'm really on record today. Thank our Chancellor, Dr. K.M. Annamlai, for supporting GRI Center to reach this feat, and real-time unconditional support from Dr. V. Subraj, our Vice Chancellor in charge, and Dr. V.P.R. Kumar, our Registrar. They have extended heartfelt support for success of this webinar series, and today, along with the help of our alumni and other speakers also to some extent, we are truly now a international webinar series. Every time we come up with a new subject, today we have something. We have today a very interesting subject. The title of the subject is Seaweed, an Untapped Marine Resource for Food and Health. This topic is not only a topic or a title for us today. It is a dream of Dr. Thahira Banu, our associate professor, and her research team. They have done the research in this extensively and gone for a patent on this. I sincerely congratulate Dr. Thahira Banu and her team for achieving this feat and taking it as a passion. They have done the research. It cannot be a study research, it is a passionate research. I'm thankful to you, Dr. Thahira, for this achieving this feat. To introduce Dr. Thahira, Dr. Thahira Banu has done her BSc, MSc, MPhil, and PhD all from Avinash Lingam Deemed University for Women, Coimbatore in Tamil Nadu. She did her BSc in Food Service Management and Dietetics and Chemistry. In MSc, she has done Food Service Management and Dietetics. In MPhil, she did Food Service Management and Dietetics, and again in PhD also, it is Food Service Management and Dietetics. In 2005 to 2010, Dr. Thahira has completed her PhD in this subject. She has 5 PhD candidates, those who have been guided by her, and those who have completed and awarded PhD. And around 15 MPhil students have completed their research under Dr. Thahira's guidance. She has some 25 publications to her credit. Approximately 16 books have been authored, or chapter is there in her credit. She's holding a couple of positions in Gandhigram. Not only in Gandhigram, she is a lifetime member of Indian Dietetic Association of India. She is lifetime member of Breastfeeding Promotion Network of India, and she is lifetime member of Nutrition Society of India. Apart from this, she is an NSS program officer. She is a deputy warden in Ladies Hostel GRI and RRC program officer also. She is a member in publication unit. She is a member in anti-ragging squad, and she is a coordinator orientation for newly admitted students. The newcomers definitely do enjoy her warmth while entering into Gandhigram as a student. She has gone in village placements program like Kotepatti village from 5/9/2012 to 11/9/2012. Her NSS winter camp was in Nadupatti village from Nadupatti village from 24/12/2012 to 13th December 2012. She is a refresher training program she has organized uh, for grassroots level workers of Working Women's Forum in Chennai from 27/7/2012 1/8/2012. She has completed few research projects like incorporation of palm tuber flour in South Indian snacks sponsored by TNSCST Chennai and nutrient and microbial quality of selected seaweeds and promotion of consumption of seaweed among local mass for um, collectorate was sanctioned by TNCST in Chennai. Received a sum of rupees 4,50,000 from UGC New Delhi for profile on the trends of food production and marketing of street foods available in Madurai, Tirunelveli, Kanyakumari, and Ramnath with special reference to women and micro entrepreneurs. She has received a sum of rupees 23,000 from UGC for a profile on the trends of food production and marketing in street foods available in Madurai and Ramnathpuram as a principal investigator. He received a sum of rupees 5,10,000 rupees from UGC New Delhi for a major project entitled uh, Therapeutic Value and Nutrient Quality of Seaweeds Collected from Biospheres of Gulf of Mannar. Uh, all these things have been done very passionately by Dr. Thahira, and today this webinar is, I personally feel that this webinar is going to be a study material for our students, not only today, for future also for references. Now over to you, Dr. Tahira, on the show.
Welcome. Thank you for that, Krishna. And at the outset, let me thank the Almighty for His providence on all of us on this day and being safe in this pandemic situation too. And I deem it a great pleasure to thank and express my sincere thanks to our Chancellor who has given me this chance and an opportunity to present my work on seaweed, which is I have given as a topic as untapped resource for human food and health. So I really thank our Chancellor for this opportunity, and I also thank our Vice Chancellor in charge, Dr. Subraj, and our Registrar, Dr. Kumar, for this, their belief that they have on me, and they've given me this chance to present this webinar today on seaweeds. And I thank the coordinator of GRI Delhi Center, Dr. Krishna Kumar sir, also for giving me this opportunity. And hope I do justice by presenting about seaweeds, because all of us wonder when I say seaweeds, weeds, are you going to eat the weeds? Yes, we are eating weeds knowingly or unknowingly. Let's see what is it and how it is being tapped for human food and health. I'll just present my slides now.
Yeah, please. Please.
So before going into it, there may be people who are watching this or hearing for the first time to know what is seaweeds. So let me just tell you that all of us may be aware of spirulina, which is an freshwater algae, right? But most of us will not be knowing seaweeds, and we will not know that it's going to be such a potential source of food. And the difference between these two, the spirulina, which we even get it in a capsule form in the market, but seaweeds are not yet in that way that is available in the market. And they are generally the macroalgae, and they are found in marine environments. Whereas the spirulina, which you get in the market, is from the fresh waters and not from the marine environment, and they are the microalgae. And also they are non-vascular, multicellular, and photosynthetic, and they are available throughout the globe, be it a polar, tropical, or temperate waters. Everywhere we get it. So now you must be knowing what is seaweeds. Seaweeds are the macroalgae that we find in the marine environment, and they are not, because most of them, when I say about seaweeds, they just get confused with spirulina. But spirulina is a freshwater algae, and it is a microalgae. So this is just available in the seashore. And to be again very clear about the seaweeds, to understand what it is, let me say that there are different types of seaweeds. When you go in submarine and you see these beautiful colors, the sea colors, and all that is just because of the presence of these flora in the sea. And they are divided into or classified into green, red, and brown. When you say green, it is naturally the name comes from the green color that it gives. It's from the family Chlorophyceae. A red, it gives a red color, and the brown, the Phaeophyceae, and the Rhodophyceae. So this is how seaweeds are classified. Okay. Now, why seaweeds? Why they are there in the sea? Abundant you can see in the sea. Why should we talk about seaweeds? Yes, seaweeds are contain 50 times more minerals than land-grown plants and no fewer than 92 minerals. So there is a study or research finding stating that the sea water is similar, 99% similar to a human plasma. So naturally, when something is growing in it, naturally it must also have the same amount of minerals, and must be naturally good for human being. And they also are a rich source of natural bioactive components. And there are also studies done around the world, and in India even now there are a lot of studies coming up on seaweeds because they are having anti-inflammatory, anti-neoplastic, antimicrobial, hypocholesterolemic, hypertensive. So much of therapeutic value these seaweeds are having. And there are studies dating back to 2001 and all that saying that seaweeds are better, the mineral content in seaweeds are better than the meat, whole milk, or egg, and usually better than any land plants. Because now we say about complete proteins, right? So animal proteins are the one which has a complete proteins, but it was so astonishing that when we worked on seaweeds, they also have very good proteins, and the bioavailability of the proteins is also good in them. And also talking about the calcium in seaweeds are greater than milk, and it's much easier to the body to assimilate. So we can very confidently say that seaweeds can act as a best ingredient in the formulation of diet supplements. Right. So now, just knowing about what is seaweeds, how are they classified, and why seaweeds. So you should know where are these seaweeds and how much is the quantity of seaweeds in our Indian coastline. So totally in our Indian coastline, and we are blessed with the sea, all the sides of our India. We have the peninsula. We have a lot of seas. They are like Arabian Sea on one side, the Bay of Bengal on the other side, and what they have recorded is 844 species of seaweed is available in India, and there are two main maritime states in India. That is, one is Gujarat and one is Tamil Nadu. So these two states are harboring the major amount of seaweeds, and the natural biodiversity is so high. And when you see the coastline of Gujarat, it is 1,600 kilometer, whereas Tamil Nadu it is 1,076 kilometer. And the amount of species that we have is totally 282 species, and all the species are really good in one way or the other. And when they've also recorded that there are around 146 brown seaweeds, 80 green seaweeds, and 56 red seaweeds. And this is where the seaweeds are available, and it is so rich in our coastline, and it is really abundant. So why don't we use the abundant stuff instead of going back of the one which is not there and which is in small quantities available, and so much of problem we have in production, agriculture, and all that. So one time there is a prophecy by some scientists stating that in one time when there will be PDS shops selling seaweeds, and people will be going into the sea to take food, take seaweed as a food, and not really an agriculture in seaweed is also possible in near future. And then let's see how seaweeds are used in India. So much of seaweeds we have, but the form in which it is used is only as a phycocolloid, the production of agar, alginate, and carrageenan. We are not consuming it in its physical form, but we are processing it and consuming. Nobody knows that. Many of us may be taking seaweeds, but we don't know how and what form we are taking seaweeds. The form which we are taking seaweeds are as agar, alginate, and carrageenan. And when you see the phycocolloids, what are they being used? The production in pharmaceuticals, the gels that we get in the farm for scanning gels and all that is nothing but the agar. The industrial uses, cosmetic uses, and emulsifiers, stabilizers, all these are being used in the industry. And when you say alginates, they are a major role of act as a dietary fiber and play a major role in human and animal health. And there are a lot of studies coming in that adding these alginates with the food products will help in reducing the cholesterol, and also it has an ability to absorb the toxic chemical substances, and they are acting as stabilizers and emulsifiers and as used in ice cream, shampoos, dairy products, and textile printing industries. And this is the carrageenan, which is taken from, it's another phycocolloid which is taken from these seaweeds. And mainly now when somebody has traveled to Rameshwaram, I can just go to an example only from Tamil Nadu, because I have seen that in person, and I don't know about Gujarat. But when you see in Tamil Nadu, when you just cross across the Pamban Bridge, you can see a lot of something floating on the sea. It's nothing but they are cultivating this particular seaweed called as Capaphycus, and to say that this is not our native species, but it is an exotic species from Philippines and Japan and other countries. But they are used as an emulsifier in dairy products, in puddings and all that. And these are the other uses of carrageenan, like they are used in meat products. There was recently one study by CFTR, right, where they have made meat patties. That's nothing but cutlets out of red meat, and they've added this carrageenan to it, and they've found that eating a carrageenan incorporated meat patties will not allow the absorption of fat because of the fiber. It is again nothing but the polysaccharides. They are nothing but the hydrocolloids are nothing but the polysaccharides. So when they had incorporated this carrageenan in this meat patties, what they found was the fat absorption was less when compared to the one which was not having the carrageenan. So there are a lot of studies coming out with seaweeds, but we are not aware of it, and we may be thinking that we are not consuming seaweeds. But now, after listening to this, you know all of us are consuming seaweeds in one or the other way. And there are so much of other bioactive compounds when you talk about fatty acids, omega-3 fatty acids. It's really a wonder when you see the fatty acid content in seaweed. It's just zero point 0.5 to 1 gram of fat that the fat present in seaweeds. But the total, whatever the total amount is there, is only the omega-3 fatty acids and the polyunsaturated fatty acids. There's no saturated fatty acids. And that is the reason they say the Japanese are really brainy, because they have more of they consume more of fish and these seaweeds, and they say that they have a very good neurodevelopment than any other people in the world. And also, when talking about the phytonutrient content in seaweeds, like phenolic compounds and like other pigments, are also very high. And as from the color of the seaweeds, we know that they may be having these colored pigments, which is going to act as antioxidants, and it's going to help in many curing many diseases, or it's going to help in anti-carcinogenic or anti-inflammatory and all that. And apart from that, the vitamins and minerals present in it are also abundant. And there are now iodine, sodium free salts that they are taking, and iodine salt that they are taking from the seaweeds. And they have many advantages, and there are many more beneficial effect than taking the salt from the sea. They take salt from seaweeds. They have started to take iodine from seaweeds, and they found it to be more stable when compared to that of the iodine which they are adding as a fortificant in many of in salt and flour. So there's so much of work going on seaweeds, because of their nutrient content and their bioactive components present in them. And now, very recently, there is a study on cyanide and cyanoic acid and domic acid, which are present in certain types of seaweeds, and they are treating it for Alzheimer's and Parkinson's and epilepsy patients. And maybe very soon we may have some drugs that is going to be available in the market for Alzheimer's and Parkinson's from seaweeds. So now, Hope you know that all of us are consuming seaweeds in one form or the other as puddings or chickpeas, jellies, patties, or anything, any form. And this one picture, hope my cursor is shown here. This one picture is only the seaweed. The others all are the processed ones which has been added to it. And when it comes to um, Madurai, we have a very famous drink called Jigar Danda, right? All of you would have tasted it, or at least faludas. You would have tasted faludas in, yeah. So all this, that faluda or the Jigar Danda has a base of agar that has been added into it, and and it has a very cooling effect and all that. So now I'm sure you will have an insight on what seaweeds are and what are the products that we are consuming knowingly or unknowingly with seaweeds. Yes, so this as an introduction for seaweeds, let me go into my research outcomes of what we have done and why we have worked on seaweeds and all. So, as I told you, seaweed consumption enjoys a very long history throughout the world, but not so popular in India in spite of its abundance in Indian coast. So that made us think, why not we work on seaweeds? And we found that it is going to be an easy and a quick solution to prevent the rising prevalence of lifestyle and nutritional disorders in the present day, and it's through exploiting the natural food sources. Exploiting is not in the bad way I'm talking about, by using it in a better form. Seaweeds are promising natural sources in terms of availability and nutrient density. So now, how did we get all this to work on seaweeds? So usually we say that extension and research go hand in hand. That is very true. So when I was working in a coastal town in Kilakarai earlier, there we went for an extension activity, and we found that the women were all engaged as seaweed divers. So we were just asking them, what is your role as seaweed divers? What do you do? These women go deep sea diving and they stay in the sea for nearly 4 hours, 5 hours, and you can just see what type of just they are adding, having a gunny bag at their leg, and they have an headlight and all that, and they just keep by training. They are inside the sea for 6 hours, 7 hours, and they come out by collecting the seaweeds. And when we saw them, they were all not that nutritionally adequate or anything like that. We felt that they were all malnourished, some of them. And because of doing this particular job, their skin, their hair, and everything was in a different color, and there were too much of dryness in their skin and everything. So we were just asking them, what are you doing? What is your job? They said, no, we collect seaweeds and we sell it to people who come from other cities. They get it from us, and or companies come and collect it from us. So all those companies which were getting seaweeds were just getting them for the previous slides I showed you about the phycocolloids like carrageenan, alginates, and agar-agar. So these women go deep sea diving and they collect the seaweeds from um, the sea and they sell it to the vendors. And we ask them what is their economic potential with this. They say we sell, if it's fresh, we will sell 1 kg for 7 rupees. If it dries, we sell it for 14 rupees. Oh, that it was a very shocking thing that they had a very low income there. And they are in the sea for more than 6 and 7 hours, and they're just collecting these seaweeds and they are selling it for such a low rate. And later, when we talked to the middlemen, what they do, they told we try this and they go and process it and they sell it for 1,500 rupees. It was really shocking. They say that we process it, so that is it, processing it, and they are selling it to companies for extraction of agar, alginates, and carrageenan, or as carrageenan, they are exporting it to other countries. So you see the economic potential of these seaweeds, but again, the person who's collecting it is getting very less. Then we just ask them where are these edible, because it was very new for me. This is somewhere in 2000, 2001 I'm talking about. So they said no, we have been consuming it. So when do you consume this? They said when famine, drought, and those conditions when food was not available, we used to collect these seaweeds and then make a porridge with the addition of sugar or palm jaggery, and we used to have it as a porridge. They said kanji, and they called that particular seaweed also as kanji person. there that struck us. So okay, there must be something good in it, and they say that occasionally we may eat it. And something else I would like to tell you, there are different flavors of seaweeds also available. So we started to just experiment on these seaweeds, and there is one particular seaweed called as Laurentia. It'll be just like the green pepper. When you taste it also, it gives you a taste of a pepper. Now they have developed a drug with that from I think it is Dr. Henna from Pondicherry University. They are working on developing a drug with this Laurentia particular seaweed. So and then in 2001 and 2, we went to two central institutes are there in Mandapam. It's near Rameshwaram. One is CMFRA, Central Marine Food Research Institute. The other one is CSMCRA, Central Salt and Marine Research Institute. When we asked them, they told no, till date, no, we have not worked on food and food related ones. But there are a set of edible seaweeds that is growing in our coastline. We will give you the identification, the characteristics, the taxonomical details, and everything. And when you collect it and come, you can come and get it tested with us whether this is edible or not. So he gave us some points to understand which is edible and which is non-edible, like the smell of the seaweed, the pores that are present in the spores that are present on the seaweed, the greaves that they have on the seaweeds. All this they just trained us on identifying these seaweeds. So later we went and we collected few seaweeds, and that was the first project. It was a very small amount that we got from Tamil Nadu State Council for Science and Technology for a student project just on evaluation of seaweeds, its nutrient composition. And we were really amazing amount of nutrients were present in it. And then on we started with it. So this particular seaweed divers were the one who gave us an insight on okay, there must be something, some goodness in this particular seaweeds, and let's work on it. And later, and there is now, and there may be a thought in many of you, if you're going to go and exploit all the seaweeds that is in our sea, and will not the biodiversity be affected, because the seaweeds are the home for the growth of fishes, the crabs and all that. Yes, that was again, that was what happening in 2007 and all that. So immediately in that time there was a method found by the CSMCRA, and they propagated it, and they started to cultivate this Kepa ficus as seaweed, and this is how the cultivation is done. And we can also cultivate, so we need not disturb the nature, or we may not disturb the biodiversity, because these women who were collecting these seaweeds, at one point they started to destroy the coral reefs also, because for a coral reef to develop it takes nearly 1,000 years. But there, because of their improper harvesting method, they started to damage those coral reefs, and they were decrease the biodiversity, and people started to know that there's a lot of seaweeds, and there were small companies shooting up, and there were no regulation at that time. But later on, there was a lot of regulations coming up, and we have the National Biodiversity Authority of India. We cannot use any bioresource material as such. We have to get their permission. We have to get the clearance from them, and then only then we can work on these seaweeds. And later, this, because there's now availability is increasing more because of these type of cultivation that is taking place in the coastline of Gujarat and Tamil Nadu. Mainly in Mandapam, there is yeah, there's a lot of companies, and we can get the permission of the port, and we can cultivate it. And these are the seaweeds, the methods of cultivating seaweeds. And the best part of it, these edible seaweeds are growing as an epiphyte on top of these seaweeds, so we can easily collect them and we can use it for our food also. So it is now, this is where the real seaweeds are being processed in its physical form, and they are being eaten in other countries like Philippines, China, Japan, and other countries, Malaysia. But we have it only yet in our primitive state as a pudding or as an ice cream we have been consuming. We are not eating it in its physical form. So, but nowadays there are these products into our markets, and because of the online shopping and all that, online marketing, there's a lot of these products available. We can even get them and try before we get our own uh, products. So as per our Prime Minister's thought, Skill India, Making India, all this we should bring in. So this, because these are the resources that is really available with us, we can work on it. And right. Coming to our research part of it and where to collect it, since I'm telling you seaweeds you can eat, so you can't just go to the marina beach and take a seaweed and eat just like that, because there are problems of toxicity and all that, and heavy metal concentrations, pollution and all that. So when we started to work on it, we started to collect the seaweeds from the bioreserve marine park of India, because it was just small amounts that we required. We got the permission, and it was they had supplied from the central institutes where they used to collect it for their research work. They used to give us, and these are abundant seaweeds that are in this area, and it's a pollution free zone. So wherever you want to collect the seaweeds, you should check for the pollution rate, the heavy metal toxicity in the water, as well as that area and the seaweeds, and then only we can use it for food. So this is where we collected our seaweeds for our own study, and so you can't just go and select anywhere and everywhere the seaweeds. And these are the common edible seaweeds that we worked on. One is Gracilaria edulis, Acanthophora spicifera, which is a red seaweed, and Ulva lactica and Ulva reticulata is a green seaweed, and Padina tetrastematica is called as it's a brown seaweed. And when you see this green seaweed, they are called as sea lettuce. The common name is sea lettuce. This is sea ribbon, and this is peacock's tail or mermaid's tail, because the tail, the thallus looks so, they call it in that way. And right, so what was our work that we did? So we went for an evaluation of therapeutic activity of these seaweeds. So first thing we did was we collected the seaweeds, we washed it and all, because there'll be a lot of sand and other physical materials present in it. We have to wash it first with the seawater, and then we have to wash it with fresh water. I think there's a spelling mistake. Nutrients, sorry, maybe in editing there's a mistake there. And we have to bring it to the. We brought it to the laboratory. Then we tried it, and then we did a nutrient analysis. And we didn't just stop with the nutrient analysis. We found what was the good nutrients in it. Then we went in for phytonutrient and bioactive constituents. Then we checked for the heavy metals. And since people may say this is not our native food, we are not eating it, how to eat a seaweed and all that. So we went for a toxicity study in animal model. We did both subacute and acute toxicity study, and we found out what will be the minimum dosage that will be required for a human. Because in India, we in our recommended dietary allowance, seaweed is not given. But whereas in Japan and other countries, they have mentioned it as 13 gram per day. So we wanted to know what will be the ideal amount of seaweed that we can consume per day, because they are highly concentrated in all the nutrients. The next we did was to know about, since the nutrients which we found was very good in iron, vitamin C, and all that. So we wanted to do an in vitro and in vivo iron bioavailability. Then we went for antioxidant activity, and then anti-diabetic activity and glycemic index, and just the studies were going on for us. And these were the methods commonly. It is just for the students' point of view. I'm just telling you, we've used these methods, and they were the very common methods which we have now. We have recently the ICP and all that. We can use high-end equipment, so the sensitivity and all that will be really good. And these are the results of the first part of the study, that is when we did for the nutrient composition, the proximate nutrient composition, the carbohydrate, the protein, vitamins, and energy. When we will see here, the protein content is somewhere around 13.6, 20, this is all per 100 gram. Alva reticulata is 27.4, and Acanthophora spicifera is 34 grams. And when you see the lipid, as I told you, the amount of lipid present is very, very less. But the total amount of lipid, whatever is present there, is maybe 90% is your PUFA, that is your polyunsaturated fatty acids. And the amount of energy they give you, and we have done initially the food fiber content, and later on we went for the dietary fiber content. So this is the proximate content. So when you see the carbs, protein, lipids, so even it is something same similar to 100 gram of rice when you're going to take. It is similar, but we cannot eat so much of the seaweed and all that. Okay. and mineral and vitamin composition of the seaweeds. When you saw the, just see the mineral content, see this zinc, selenium, vitamin C, and since iodine we didn't do because it's already found, and they are using the seaweeds for many purpose in curing iodine related disorders, right? Diseases. So when it comes to iron, we have the highest was in alva lactuca, alva reticulata, gracilaria. So something it's very high for a 100 gram of a food to have 51.8 milligram of iron is if the iron is present in dates is only 7 milligram. 100 grams of dates will give you 7 milligram. But whereas in seaweed gives you so much. Even if you're going to take just 10 grams of it, you're going to get nearly 5 grams, 5 milligrams of the iron in it. But and so we were really yeah, we thought that okay, the amount of nutrients is very high. Will this be bioavailable? Will this be really available to the human when it on digestion process and all that? What will be the available iron that is going to be present in it? So we went in for the other studies also. Then, of course, as I told you, we worked on the other therapeutic activities also. So we wanted to know the phytonutrient composition. So when you see the tannin, the flavonoids, saponins, alkaloids, and all that was naturally good in all the seaweeds that we had selected. And we used only the aqueous extract because we thought it was for food, so it's better to use only the aqueous extracts. And when we did a GC analysis, HPLC and GC analysis for the bioactive compounds in terms of fat and amino acids, we found that they had all these fatty acids like hexadecaenoic acid and linoleic acid, which is one of your polyunsaturated fatty acids. And when we did the dietary fiber and total quinolic content, because these two were related for the anti-diabetic activity of the seaweed. So we found that the dietary fiber, the total dietary fiber is 42.2 gram, whereas the carbohydrate content is also somewhere around 47. So the majority of the carbs that is being found is going to be in the form of total dietary fiber or the non-starch polysaccharides, which is going to be really helpful in many ways of overcoming, even reducing your glucose, will help in preventing the cholesterol, that is fat absorption and all that. And the insoluble and the soluble one is so much, and the total phenolic content is even high in these seaweeds. So we work on these four seaweeds from the beginning. And fine. So all these was very satisfactory, being its mineral content, proximate content, the dietary fiber content, everything was really good. So we thought that yes, why don't we develop some products with it? So before that, people started telling no, there'll be a lot of nucleic acids present, and there'll be metal toxicants. And the other, I didn't put that other slide here. The heavy metal concentrations was all below detectable levels in all these seaweeds. So that was one very positive aspect of this. So we went for the toxicological evaluation. So we did an acute toxicity. We had different four sets of rats, and we did a single dosing because acute toxicity will be done for a single day. And we did it for 2,000 to 5,000 milligram of seaweed was fed to the rats, and we just observed the rats for another 14 days for its behavior, body weight, organ weight, and pathological changes. Then when we found that all this rats that were fed with that for 14 days were very normal, except for the one which was fed with except for the one which was fed with Acanthophora spicifera. It's in red algae, and we found that it had some mild depression. The MD is for mild disturbance or mild depression. The rat was a little hyperactive in nature. And when you see this Acanthophora spicifera, when you add it or when you boil it, it gives you the smell of the aginomotor, glutamine. So the glutamic acid is very high in these things, so they add flavor to the food. And the next, when you fed them at 5,000 also, the same Acanthophora spicifera had the same results. And so that we didn't take this seaweed further for our analysis. We just started to work on Gracilaria edilis, Alva lactuca, and Alva reticulata. And we went for a sub-acute study done for 60 days. We fed the this 2,500 5,000 milligrams is the standard OECD guidelines. As per the standard, we had fed the rats with this amount of seaweed, and it was done for 60 days. And after feeding the rat for 60 days, the initial and final changes were noted, like physical changes and biochemical changes were noted in the rats. And when we saw the results of this study, also showed no physical changes, no adverse biochemical changes, no adverse behavioral changes, no adverse histopathological changes. So we found that yes, it's safe. So we can give a dosage of 5,000 milligram of seaweed is safe for an animal for its kg body weight. Then when these are the biochemical parameters that we saw for the rats, it is the glucose, the cholesterol, the sodium, albumin globulin ratio, then SGPT, SGPTL. These are marker enzymes for your liver function and kidney function. So we used these tests, and we found that the enzymes, the rats were safe, and it is safe to introduce 5,000 milligram of seaweed per kg body weight of the rats. So then we yes, fine. So it is safe. It is safe in terms of heavy metals. It is safe in terms of toxicity. So fine. Why don't we then do an antioxidant activity? We did all this in the laboratory, in vitro methods, an anti-diabetic activity, and then we also did our iron bioavailability studies, which I will be talking later. And once when we finish with this, we use these methods. This is standard laboratory methods that we use: TPPH, beta carotene bleaching method, hydrogen peroxide radical scavenging method, FRAP, and anti-diabetic activity. We worked on alpha amylase inhibitory activity and alpha glucosidase, because these are the two enzymes which will inhibit the hydrolysis of carbohydrate to whether these seaweeds have an inhibitory effect on the food that we are consuming. And so when we found the antioxidant and anti-diabetic activity, they were very promising, and they were above 80 for your anti-diabetic activity, and the seaweeds in their aqueous extract also showed some uh, good antioxidant activity. And fine. So this was our conclusion here. No total phenolic content was good. No toxicity. No heavy metal toxicity. Iron is rich. Vitamin C is good. Dietary fiber is good. So let's work. We started to work only on further two seaweeds. We left the Alba lactica, but we used it, but I didn't project it here. Glassradia edulus and Alba reticulata. And we did anti-diabetic activity. That was also very good. It was very promising. And we did an in vitro iron bioavailability study using Miller's method, and we found the bioavailability of alpha reticulator was nearly 11% high than any other standard food that we say it for being very rich in iron. And when we did an in vitro glycemic index also, we found that the glycemic index was very low for these seaweeds. So we went in for processing the seaweeds, and then we had the processed seaweeds, which is going to be used in our food product development. So this was in vitro glycemic index of the seaweeds that we use, that is Glassradia edulis and Alba reticulata. And hope you know what is glycemic index, and there are a classification of glycemic index as high glycemic index, medium glycemic index, and low glycemic index. And the foods that have below 50 are recorded as a low glycemic index. So when we had Gracilaria edulis, it showed only 29.5, and Alba reticulata had 45.5, which indicated that there is these seaweeds have a low glycemic index. They will help in reducing the blood glucose levels. So we went in for the development and acceptability of value-added products. So we did a value addition with 5 grams of the seaweeds. We took, as I told you, we worked also on Alba lactica. So we did different products like vegetable soup, tomato chutneys, teas, chocolate, yogurts, and biscuits. And we went for the standardization. Then we studied the acceptability. Then we worked on it again, the nutrient composition, and then we worked on the bioavailability. So this was a chocolate for which I have received a patent that we developed, and it is nothing the patent titled as nutritious composition of the chocolate. And then we prepared a tea out of the seaweeds, and this was actually supplemented to pre-cancerous patients, and to know whether the oral cancer lesions were getting decreased, the size decreased by having this particular tea. And these are the seaweed biscuits which we developed for low glycemic index products, right? And when you see the acceptability of the value-added products, we found these three products which I showed you now as the chocolates, the biscuits, and the
Tea.
tea had a very high acceptability, so we started to work on it. And this is the acceptability of the sensory evaluation for the biscuits, which we did with a 9-point hedonic scale using the with a trained panelist, and we found that they were very good. And we had different variations as per the product development. We cannot just stop with 1 gram, 2 gram, 3 gram. We had a variations of incorporating the seaweed in 1 gram, 2 gram, and we had coded it as V1, V2, V3, V4, V5, and we found that all the is as a very high acceptability. And we're talking about the nutrient content of the chocolate. So this was the carbohydrate content of the chocolate, and the fat content was so much. Protein was 10.9, energy was 243, and iron was 56 milligram. And when we work bioavailability of the iron, we separately worked on the extract, we separately worked on the chocolate, and that is the chocolate without seaweed and the chocolate with the seaweed. We found that the bioavailability of seaweed chocolate was 21%. So we thought, okay, we can go in for finding out whether we can do an in vivo test by supplementing it to adolescent girls who are having moderate anemia. So with the ethical clearance from Rajaji Medical College, Medical Hospital, Madurai, we got the ethical clearance, and then we worked on adolescent girls of 15 to 18 years who are moderately anemic with a level of 9 to 11 milligram, 11 gram per deciliter of hemoglobin level. And we had two groups as experimental and control group, and for 120 days we supplemented this plain chocolate in 15 grams and experimental seaweed chocolate in 20 grams. We did the complete hematogram analysis to these children, and we found the demographic details of the children so that it would be easy for us to work on their diets and to find out. And most of them were oscillates, so it was a controlled diet. And the impact was when you see that initially the hemoglobin levels were same, but as the days go on the 120th day, when you saw the hemoglobin level of the one which treated with or supplemented with seaweed chocolate was very high. So this indicates that their bioavailability is the one which is going to help. And one more point I would like to stress here: the iron present in the seaweeds in the form of heme iron and not in the non-heme iron, because all vegetarian sources have it as non-heme, and they have their binding capacities are different. But when it is a heme iron, as in the non-vegetarian foods, the seaweed also has a form in the heme iron. And when you see its serum ferritin, serum iron, and all that also increase initially and finally in a patient, in students, that is adolescents, when we are supplemented with the seaweed chocolate. So yes, so that was a final result of the seaweed chocolate. So we thought, yes, giving an adding seaweed to this chocolate, because why we chose chocolate is another point, because the students may not feel odd to eat anything else when it's a chocolate and neatly packed and given in a nice form. It is easy for them to eat, and it does not cause any clumsiness, and also the smell gets masked, because of course the seaweed has some smell with a flavor which everybody cannot accept it. So we had given it a very good pack for the ease of eating the chocolates. And talking about the biscuits that we developed, it had the dietary fiber content of the biscuits. When you see a standard biscuit without the incorporation of seaweed had 2 only, but with the incorporation of seaweed it had 15, and the insoluble fiber was 8, and the soluble fiber was 6. So this was the reason where these were helping in reducing the glycemic index of the product. And when you see the glycemic index, so it is standard without the seaweed at 60, and different variations and variation 5, which had 5 grams of the seaweed, had a glycemic index of 46.3. So it's a product now with low glycemic index. And also we had seen the glycemic load of these biscuits, and it was found as 13.2 and 9.09, which is also in a reduced level, which indicates that it is a good anti-diabetic food. And as I told you, we also prepared a tea with seaweeds, with incorporating the seaweed alva lactuca, and these were the total polyphenol, chlorophyll, tannin, and beta carotene content, because these add to the anti-cancer property of these seaweeds. And we did an in vivo antioxidant activity of seaweed tea, and we had kept the vitamin C as a standard, and we worked on antioxidant enzymes, mainly the catalase, SOD, glutathione peroxidase, and lipid peroxidase. And we found that these seaweed, on consuming or on feeding the rats with the seaweeds, the levels also, or as the concentration increases, the levels were decreasing, and lipid peroxidase is decreasing as it has to decrease. And talking about the seaweed chocolate, it was given the amount of seaweed chocolate that was fed to the children were 20 gram. We didn't give 100 gram of chocolate. We calculated it for 20 gram, and we gave that 20 gram of chocolate, which helped in the increase in the hemoglobin levels. And now to conclude, I would just tell you that as we have worked on these seaweeds, we found that uh, it is a very good resource, a natural resource that can be added into these food products, and it's not going to cause any other damage to our body, provided that we collect the seaweeds from a safe area, or we start cultivating the seaweeds. That was again a dream of our President Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam. He brought in this Pura scheme, providing urban amenities in rural areas, where he brought in this cultivation techniques, and by giving loans, the bank, he brought in a lot of this cultivation techniques. So that is the best way we can harness the seaweed and use it in our daily diet. And also we have to get a lot of regulations also into this, like FSSAI, because now these days food has to be regulated and licensed with FSSAI. So if we can do something like that, even these products which we have developed in our university can be given. But of course, we did also the anti-diabetic activity, in vivo the anti-diabetic activity, by getting the institution ethical clearance. We had supplemented to diabetic people and saw it was really working good. Even a person who had 300 and 400 milligram of blood glucose, on a period of 30 days, as per FAO WHO guidelines, it was 30 days if we can supplement, it is enough, or even 15 days if we supplement, it is enough. We found that the blood glucose level was reduced to 120, but of course, glycomet and other drugs were bringing it even more less, but this supplementation helped in reducing the blood glucose level. So at the end, I can tell you that these products have to be licensed, and it has to be undergoing these regulations, and you have to get an FSSI number, and we can easily promote these products. So just a glimpse of what I have told about seaweeds are, all these seaweeds are very rich in nutrients, be it macronutrients or be it micronutrients, and its bioavailability is good. And as I told you, provided we collect it from the safe zones, and it is very good in PUFA, and toxicity is also not seen, and it has a very good anti-diabetic, antioxidant activity, and it has a low glycemic index. So these foods can also, iron which can help in prevent anemia, which is a major condition where the adolescents are suffering these days. Not only adolescents, even adolescent girls, boys, and the children, pregnant mothers, everybody are undergoing this. So we have to find out whether this particular seaweed, the product which we have developed, can be introduced into the ICTS stream, where it can be supplemented as an mass feeding to the people who are suffering from anemia and other. And when you talk about the low glycemic index of these products, again, India is then becoming the capital of diabetes next to China. So, bringing in such products will be really help to the diabetic population, because they need some food, and everybody would like to eat a biscuit. Nobody says no to bakery products. But if we have products which are being supplemented with some other fiber or these seaweeds, it may be helpful than being non-healthy food. So that is one thing which we would like to take it to the market and commercialize to the people. And this is a patent certificate that I received for the, I don't know whether it is very clear. It's a nutritional rich chocolate composition, which I got a patent. And of course, I have the other products also, but whether to go in for patent or whether to go in for publications, we are in a very. So this is about the seaweeds, which is being an untapped resource where we have to start using it for uh, bringing in a lot of products and a healthy population. So that's it. This is my presentation. If you have any queries, you can post it to me, or you can watch the YouTube, which is going to be a live streaming, and you can contact us anytime. We'll leave our ID with Dr. Krishna Kumar. So you can contact us regarding the seaweed. And now our recent work is on coating of seaweeds and increasing the shelf life of tomatoes. And we found it very, and it is also published in an NLC Word journal. You can just put seaweed coating, the paper will be available. And we have found that the shelf life of tomatoes are there for 30 days, which is a boon to the farmers here, where they are just throwing it in the roadside and streets, and it's going unwaste. It is not being utilized properly. So, as a part of value addition, we are trying to work on this seaweed coating furthermore, so that it will be a help to the farmers and to the agriculture sector. So, thank you, sir, for giving me this opportunity. Hope I have done a justice by introducing seaweed to the people, and hope people start buying and collecting the safe seaweed and consuming. Thank you so much.
I am spellbound. Hats off to your contributions in bringing out seaweed as an alternate food uh, to our people. It was amazing listening to you. The new dimension, what you have shown, it was very informative and insightful also. How to use seaweed as a alternate food is something which very few has thought, and a larger chunk is left. I have a request, Dr. Thahira, to you. Why don't you develop a mini meal in our university on a daily basis and start giving it to our students and the staff fraternity to understand
Yes,
what kind of reception is being given, and we should expand it in our canteen with the biscuits, chocolates, whatever you are making. Uh, Maybe that's one good gesture for future uh, the generation. I would say. Anyway, hats off to you. Really, we have got informations. It was flowing like anything. That's your style, and really, it was very good listening to you in this 1 hour to understand what is seaweed right from beginning, and to the level of how you have fed it, did the research, brought it to the conclusion, and went to patent and done this as a higher education institution. Gandhigram Rural Institute should be proud of you and your team for this feat. Needless to tell, needless to tell, knowing Gandhigram from beginning, when Dr. Kamalama was there as head of the department in home science, so many things were initiated, and the kind of passion I have seen in her, or the other staff members, faculty members of the home science team was amazing. Uh, we were actually known for our home science department right from inception of the department. That's how I have seen this as a department. We have now BSc, MSc, and so on and so forth. But still, the left portion is the request what I have put in. Please develop a full-time canteen where we can feed our staff and student fraternity, introduce how the reception is, and to develop it further for further research. I would personally feel that whenever I come next, I would come and sit with you, understand what is the kind of research work which is going on, and where can we bring in more resources or funds for this particular purpose, and to develop a real good team which is passionate to develop all these things. I would love to come and meet you in person with your team, Dr. Tahira. Now, formally, we should go for a question and answer session. Yes, definitely. Mm, uh, the presentation which you have shown, probably we can close the presentation so that we can see you in live, full scale. The topic seaweed and untapped marine resource for food and health is one thing what you have explained us very nicely. Uh, Two things comes to my mind. One is obesity, and the second one is cholesterol. How can we make it as a habit in terms of food, as well as how can we develop it as a medicine? What's your views on this, doctor?
Yes, for obesity, I'd like to. So, can you hear
Yeah,
me?
yeah, please, please.
So, for obesity and all that, the base here is your what we require is the food. We have to take a lot of fiber. There's a lot of other treatments for obesity, like we have to do exercise and all that. Apart from that, talking with food and seaweed and obesity, I can link it in this way. It has a high amount of polysaccharides. So because of the presence of this polysaccharides in it as dietary fiber, this is going to really help in one thing. When you take more fiber, it's going to bring in satiety. It will not allow you to eat more food, right? So you have a satisfaction level will be achieved at the earlier state when more fiber is ingested in your. And the second thing is this fiber presence of fiber will not allow the like it will get entangled with the bile, and there is a chance for reduction in the making the bile non-available, and that is another reason why fiber and we relate fiber with cholesterol. It will not allow the absorption of these fat, so the amount of fat that enters into your blood is going to be reduced. So these are the two things we relate fiber and obesity, of fiber and cholesterol levels. So it's better to introduce these seaweeds in the small forms. And the one another point I would like to add is the shelf life of these seaweeds are very high, maybe because of the bioactive components as such they are present in it. They have a lot of. We have done also antimicrobial activity, and we found that their shelf life is very good. Even for a year, you keep and then you go and see for your microbial load, which is very less. So you can even use it as dry powders at home, making a dosa or making an even chapati or anything. You can just add a little and just try eating it and see how this helps you to maintain your weight. As I told you, the satiety part of it and the fiber gives satiety and also helps to does not lead to total absorption of the fat that you're consuming. Two things that will be useful in connection with seaweeds and obesity. Hope I answered your question.
Thank you, doctor. Coming to the second question, doctor. You have told so many things about the food habits. How can we change it with seaweeds, and how In fact, before you told me, or before listening to your lecture, I was not thinking that I was taking seaweed knowingly or unknowingly. But somewhere I saw that yes, I'm habitual right from the beginning, which was unknown to me. Now, when we are talking about our food, the seaweed in dry form, in capsule form, or in medicinal form, can it be used for uh, these kind of medicines like cholesterol or obesity uh, or you can say sugar, pressure, all these things? Will there be any help?
Yeah, yes. Food, food is thy medicine, right? So instead of taking it as a capsule form or taking it as a pellet form or anything, why don't you use it directly? So this is what a trust was there. Copper, Gulf of Mannar Biosphere Trust. Actually, they told us, like you told me, you should start in Canteen in Gandhigram. They were asking for carts, these street carts, where we could sell these seaweeds as fresh as possible. Like when you see these sushi and all that in Japanese and all that, they roll the seaweeds and they keep rice inside and consume them. And also they put these toppings as in soups and other products. So they were asking us to do so just for overcoming these NCDs, this non-communicable diseases, because this is a fast food era, junk food. Everybody wants to eat food fast and tasty food, fried foods and all that. And nobody is bothered about eating steamed foods and all that except for these momos which are coming up now. But the rest, all the foods are highly, which is being subjected to high baking temperatures or adding too much of fat to it and all that. So why don't we supplement our food with something natural resource instead of going in for pellets or drug form? So this is better that what I'm telling you. Like we have pepper and salt wet at home, right? When we want, we can add pepper. When we want, we can add salt. Like these powders made, and we have to keep it in our table. So just adding topping will also help in improving your health. That's what I feel. Instead of going in for medicine or as a pellet, which becomes an regimen, every day you have to eat it. So just keep it on your table as a cuvette set, and like a salt, pepper, we can just sprinkle it and eat. In any form, any dish we can add it, and it tastes good when we add it with some these brinjal curries and all that. It's really good.
Thank you, doctor.
Yes, sir.
Now, something comes to my mind. We have green
Yeah,
algae, spirulina. You have touched the subject. What is the difference
yeah,
between
that
the
is
seaweed
fresh.
and spirulina, other than
Yeah,
this fresh?
that what I told you, that fresh. It is a freshwater algae,
Yeah,
microalgae.
yeah.
It is only available in the fresh waters, and it is not an macroalgae. Whereas seaweeds are found only in the marine environment, and their thallus and all that is quite big when compared to the spirulina. So that's the main difference. And when you come to the concentration of nutrients, somewhat they are both similar. Freshwater seaweeds, and the other thing here is the spirulina flavor is too bad, but seaweed flavor is not that bad.
Too
So
bad and
maybe they
not
are
bad. Can we take it
it,
as too?
they've put it in the capsule, so we will not know the smell. But if you're going to eat it as a powder, we cannot eat spirulina. But seaweeds, we can consume it as a powder, because as I told you, like there are some seaweeds which has some spicy flavors like pepper, cinnamon, and all that. They have certain flavors, so it will not be as bad as spirulina. That I think the palatability is better for seaweeds than spirulina.
Thank you, doctor. It was very nice listening to you throughout this webinar, and it was very informative, as I have told you. And new things have come up on our way. It was something like we are trying to understand more so that we can come closer to seaweed as a product. And can we develop something like when I'm talking about a canteen in Gandhigram University? Why not a shop? outside the Gandhigram campus where we have on the main road we
Yes,
can give. It's a big traffic which is going on. Definitely,
yes.
people.
But what my plans are, we can do some startups, train up some women so that their livelihood, and it will be an income generation to the university or to the institute as well as to the department, and a livelihood for the women. So that is our part. We are trying for many things we had applied for. We are trying. We may get it if God
Definitely,
wishes.
this FSSI arrangement, if it has been approved by FSSI, we can do wonders in this particular thing, which will be actually a help for the humankind. I'm really thankful to you for the kind of dedication and focus you have in this particular product. You have developed it like anything, and it is something which is new for mankind also. And the way you said there are 1,600 kilometers of coastal area in Gujarat and 1,070 in Tamil Nadu. Only in weather forecast we used to come to know of all these things. But this kind of rich species by biodiversity, rich species are available. Approximately, you said 366. I hope species available in this coastal areas, which we can actually do wonders with this particular thing in terms of betterment of health of our own people, because our generation is today young, one day we will become older. So considering those facts also, we can develop it as an industry, and Gandhigram can pioneer and lead in this particular thing under your valuable guidance and leadership. I'm sure it will happen one day. I'm sure it will happen one day. Now, we have to come for a formal conclusion of the webinar. So, I have to do it as a ceremony. Otherwise, I really don't feel it so. Much more questions are there, which we are directing people to send it to you and get their clarification. Uh, I, I, I am really thankful to you, Dr. Thahira Banu, for being with us in this webinar, in spite of your busy schedule, teaching, research, and so on and so forth. And you have enlightened us in a topic, seaweed and untapped marine resource for food and health. It was a really wonderful experience for us, and I'm sure this is a material which can be used anytime in future for research, many research projects. And I'm sure with this, Gandhigram uh, will have an advantage of having you people as a team to do wonders in this research product. I thank you for your presence in this webinar, ma'am, and I'm really looking for more and more such patents from you. As a higher education institution, we need to have more and more patents. That's what our Prime Minister dreams all about. Let's have a very successful story of furthermore patents in this particular field. I'm really thankful to you, Dr. Tagina, for being with us. And I thank each and every participants in this program. In fact, this sixth webinar series was so much successful that we have added somewhere to the tune of 2,000 plus viewers in one go, 5 days, which is good at any standard. And we are there to bring in more and more new subjects, new people, and new vision. And it's a testing ground for you people to come and join us in the webinar series, which is going to continue in future also. I thank you, Dr. Tahira, for being with us. Jai Hind.
Thank you. Did I answer?
Yeah, please.